Hello, welcome back to the next lesson in Unit 2 for our science topic of balancing ecosystems. So, in today's lesson, we're looking at habitats and adaptations. There's a couple of things you're going to need to do during this lesson. So, this one is a video lesson. We're going to have you try to take your own notes from the slides. Feel free to pause the video whenever you need. And you're welcome to go back and rewatch sections as well. So, first thing you need to do, you do need to put this lovely title here. Let me just erase that. You need to put habitats and adaptations. Let me try one more time. Habitats and adaptations onto the top of your page where you're taking the notes. Remember to put the date as well. So for 7-1, this is November 21st. For 7-2 or 7-9, sorry, this is November 22nd. Put it in your table of contents at the front of your book and on the top of your page. If you need to, pause the video and come back to that. Okay. If you've got that done, then what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the actual content for the lesson. So the main goal, our learning goal for today, is to define what a habitat is and describe examples of adaptations, both behavioral and structural adaptations that allow organisms to live successfully in their habitat. So first thing is, what is a habitat? Take a minute to think about what you think that word means. Okay, it won't be a full minute here, but think about habitat. So, we also need to look at what makes a habitat. A habitat is all of the things that an organism needs to survive, such as the right amounts of oxygen, water, light, and shelter. So we kind of group it into those four main categories. We need water, we need light, we need oxygen, or if it's a plant, we need carbon dioxide, okay? And we need shelter. We need something to protect us from the environment, okay? So I'd like you to pause the video here and I'd like you to write 1 to 2 sentences in your notebook on how would you describe your habitat, okay? So pause the video here for a minute. All right, so moving on. Did you say that your habitat is full of buildings, maybe? We've got pretty clean air in Singapore. We've got lots of trees and things around us, other animals, not as many. There's mostly people, but we can get our oxygen quite easily. There's water all around the island, and we have water coming from our taps and things like that. And yeah, pretty much everyone here will have some sort of shelter. Now, maybe your shelter is a house, okay, on its own. Maybe it's an apartment. Maybe it's a room within an apartment. You might have a lot of different options. Maybe you have a backyard. Maybe you don't, okay? For those of you that also have houses where your parents or your family lives in another country, you can think about that habitat as well. So, for animals, there are different types of habitats, and this connects to the biomes that we did earlier on in the year. So you can see that there's different types of habitats. There's land habitats and there's water habitats. So terrestrial is the land habitats, and aquatic is the water ones. So looking at these ones here, how are they similar and how are they different? If you've got a neighbor beside you, I'd like you to stop and take a moment to kind of make some notes. So take one of the little whiteboards, okay, and a marker, and then you're going to look at how are these habitats similar, how are they different. You could even number them as 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? Maybe you noticed that in this one here, there's a lot of trees, there's some grass. It seems to be pretty high up because there are some hills and stuff like that. Okay? Lots of light. This one, number 2, is probably on a grassland, maybe a savanna type habitat where there's more lower shrubs. They look different. These ones are pine trees or coniferous. This one, these are shrubs with little leaves, okay, and lots of grass that's tall and long, different color, might be a little bit warmer. Then you've got a mountain landscape where the trees and the living things actually only go up to a certain level. And then you've got a water landscape, okay? So after you finish the notes, you're going to come back to the slides and you're going to do activity 1 and activity 2. This will be done separately from the video. In the activity, though, just so that you have an idea, you're basically going to play the game and you need to match the type of habitat with the animal that they show you. Okay, so you have to try and figure out which habitat best matches that animal. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move on to adaptations. Now, adaptations are special features that help an organism survive in its particular habitat. Okay, so you do need to write down this part here in your notes as a definition of adaptations. And then I want you to think about what sort of adaptations do different organisms have. Like, for example, think of if you have a cat at home or a dog, or maybe you have a turtle or a bird. Okay. Also, just a reminder, you can pause the video whenever you need to write down the definition. Okay, and then keep going. So when you think of these different animals, maybe you think of your cat and your cat has sharp claws. Well, what does that help it do? Have you ever seen your cat climb different things? Do those claws help it to survive in its habitat, especially like if there was some trees or some things like that that it needs to climb? Okay. Maybe your dog has really, really big ears. Does it help it to hear things from far away and maybe locate where sound is coming from? Sometimes dogs can turn their ears as well. Okay. Other dogs, for example, if you've got one that's got big floppy ears, it actually helps push smells to their nose. So there's a lot of different ways that organisms can either be built and have physical features, or there's ways that they act, which is behavioral features. And all of those are adaptations. Okay. So that's one of our vocabulary words that you do need to know. So, for example, you have plenty of adaptations to survive in your habitat. Your fingers are an excellent adaptation. If we didn't have them, you wouldn't be able to grip things, you wouldn't be able to write, you wouldn't be able to open a door. One of the things that makes us special as humans, there's only a few different species of organisms that have opposable thumbs. Okay, so a lot of organisms can't grip things in the same way or turn like we can. Can you think of any other adaptations that you have? So again, this is a really good opportunity to pause the video and use the whiteboard and try to write down some of the different adaptations that you can brainstorm. Once you've taken a few minutes to do that, then you can move on. So let me just clear the selection here. Adaptations in different habitats. Now, this is where we need to look at how the location of where somebody lives, and I'm just going to remove the webcam video for now from the bottom of the screen just so that it is not blocking the pictures, okay? The place that we live is important. Things need to be designed to be able to survive in their habitats. So something like a cactus here, you can see all of these big spiky pieces. Okay, those spikes or spines are designed to be there instead of leaves so that the cactus does not lose as much water in the dry deserts as something with large leaves like some of the big palm, well, not even palm trees, but some of the other trees and stuff would have. Okay? Flowers are often really bright and colorful. And the idea for that is that it allows them to attract insects like bees or birds like hummingbirds to come to them to take the nectar, which includes the pollen, and then take that pollen to another flower so that the flowers can reproduce. Because the flowers can't just get up and walk themselves to another organism, like another flower. Okay? This little guy here, you'll notice a couple of things. One, his color is so similar to the grass that he's in. And it'll be similar, like a dark, murky, like water and stuff like that too. Also, he's got really sharp teeth to help with breaking down the meat and ripping and tearing it apart so he can eat. Okay? A strong tail to help swim through the water. Then, if we come to the panda has super sharp teeth. Bamboo, if you've ever had a stick of bamboo, you know it's actually quite a strong material. Well, the pandas need to break that down. They need to be able to shred the bamboo to be able to eat it. And they do this by having really sharp and strong teeth. Okay. Oh, I can't bring my video back. All right. There we go. Now I can. So if we keep moving, basically now you've got the notes. So you've got a definition of what a habitat is and maybe a couple of examples. You've got a definition of adaptation as well. What you're going to do is you're going to look at a few things. Now, I know it's not written in here, but the adaptations that are structural are like physical, those are called structural adaptations. And then the other ones are behavioral adaptations, and that's what the animal does, like laying out in the sun to warm up or stuff like that. So now you can stop the video and you can go on to the two different activities, activity 1 and activity 2. And then activity 3 will give you a few things to do for homework. All right. Thank you and have a good lesson.